Hi Mara. What's going on with the project? Behind schedule, as usual.
No. We're doing great on time. We've started using Scrum to manage our projects, and they are working much better.
Oh. What is Scrum?
Scrum. It's a project management methodology.
Okay, but what does that mean?
Here's the description of Scrum I wrote for a presentation I gave on it. Scrum methodology is an agile software development process that works as a project management wrapper around existing engineering practices to iteratively and incrementally develop software. Scrum was designed to add energy, focus, clarity and transparency to project planning and implementation. When Scrum is properly implemented, it will increase the speed of development, align individual and corporate objectives, create a culture driven by performance, and achieve stable and consistent communication of performance at all levels.
Sure. That's great. I still have no idea what Scrum is, though.
Well, Scrum is an iterative, incremental framework for projects and software development. Scrum structures development in cycles of work called sprints. These iterations take less than a month and are normally measured in weeks. Sprints take place one after the other and are a fixed duration that end with a specific date whether the work is completed or not, but they are never extended. This process is said to be time-boxed.
Okay. But how does that help you deliver what you need to deliver? If you have a list of items to implement and they don't fit into the time box, what do you do?
At the beginning of each sprint, a team selects items from a prioritized list and commits to completing this list by the end of the sprint. Any items not completed can then be placed into the next sprint for completion.
How do you know if you're on track to complete all the items in the sprint?
We have short meetings every day, called scrums, to discuss how we're doing and let the rest of the team know if there is anything blocking our progress.
We have short meetings, too. But they usually last 2 hours.
Our daily scrum is held standing up. That way no one wants to extend the meeting for more than 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, so I get how that works, but what about the work breakdown structure? How do you fit the WBS into Scrum?
WBS is sometimes used in Scrum, but more often we use the product backlog. The product backlog is a prioritized collection of user stories that describe things that users want, and why. For example, a user story could be, as a user, I want a faster browser, because I can get my work done faster. That captures the who, the what, and the why in one short sentence.
Okay, but that doesn't tell you how to build a faster browser.
No. Most user stories would be much simpler than that, like adding a button to the browser, or changing how a form field works. For bigger stories, we use epics.
Like Moby Dick. Are they really long, boring stories?
No. Epics are more complicated issues that are often made up of many user stories or pseudo-tasks.
Okay. Kind of like a rolled-out task in a WBS.
Yes, exactly.
So, how does it work, exactly?
Well, there are a few basic steps. It starts with the product owner, who provides the goals for the sprints to the team. Then the user stories are written based on the product owner's goals and entered into the product backlog. Next, the sprint planning prioritizes the stories and places them into the sprint backlog. The Scrum team then works on completing the stories, updating other team members via the daily sprint. Each story that is completed is marked on the burn-down chart, which shows the team's progress towards the goal of the sprint. Once the stories have been completed, the team has a retrospective meeting to discuss the outcome of the sprint. Finally, there is a product demonstration to show the result of the sprint.
Besides you, who else uses Scrum?
Scrum is used by countless software companies. It is not common outside of information technology, though there are some examples of companies that do use it. The Scrum Alliance even suggested that the New England Patriots use the principles of Scrum during their near-perfect season.
Interesting. How does this help manage a project better than, say, the waterfall methodology?
Well, for software, especially web-based software, there is almost never a complete project plan. More often, there is a core idea and a series of releases, small packages of features that are developed and given to users over and over again. Scrum works in the same way as this design methodology, so it fits well with software releases. It wouldn't be a good fit if you were building a bridge, however, or even for some kinds of software development.
So, what's the downside to Scrum?
Scrum doesn't solve all the problems of project management, and it isn't right for all kinds of projects. Other management methodologies provide far more information on things like risk, costs, long-term costs, and so on.
Okay. So, where did Scrum come from?
Scrum came from a meshing of agile software design methods in the complex business world. Some people say Scrum began when Jeff Sutherland and Ken Schwaber presented a formalized Scrum process at the International Conference on Object-Oriented Programming, Systems, Languages, and Applications. For others, its defining moment was the creation of the Agile Manifesto in February 2001.
Why did they create it?
They felt like we needed a lightweight process for modern software development. A process that would veer away from linear software design in order to better support an increasingly complex business world.
What is the philosophy of Scrum?
Scrum is a paradigmatic shift in development that emphasizes philosophy over concrete processes.
What?
That means that it's more about the agility of the team than about following rigid schedules imposed by someone else's idea of what should happen when.
Okay. That makes a little more sense. How do the developers like it? It seems like it is more developer-centric than other methods.
It is more developer-centric, and it is quickly becoming the most popular agile project management methodology for software.
Wow. I've never even heard of it. It couldn't have just come out of nowhere. What did it develop from?
Well, many believe that it is either a reaction to the rigidly linear school of waterfall development or a direct descendant of lean manufacturing, a method used by Honda and Toyota in the 1980s. Scrum is certainly related to both of these disciplines, but differs in that it sheds the belief that software development is based on the same mathematical and physical properties that govern more straightforward forms of architecture and construction. That is, automobile engineers at Honda or Toyota can base their designs on irrefutable, mechanical laws, allowing them to build automobiles with a high level of certainty of how they will perform in relation to velocity, speed, energy consumption, etc. Software design, on the other hand, is riddled with variables without physical properties. Scrum attempts to cope with this chaos by embracing it.
So where does Scrum go from here?
Although it is very early in the process, it seems that Scrum and XP methodologies will merge into a unified methodology that will encompass all aspects of software development. I'm guessing that is only natural following the joining of key figures of the XP community to the Scrum Alliance.